Semi-finals tied up now 1-1. The winner of this game and the winner of this series goes on to fight MMA in the grand finals of today's ZOTAC Cup. It's been a pleasure and a blast so far, but we're not done yet. We're getting close, but we're not done yet. Spawning in the top left corner of the map, playing for Empire, could be the red Terran player Happy. And his opponent in the upper right, from Millennium, the blue Terran player MarineLord, who just put on a really cool show. So MarineLord was doing some things that really had me questioning his motives in game number 2, to the point where it's like, what is he getting desperate? What is he? But a lot of what he just did was just these minor little moves that punished Happy for playing the way he did, for playing that greedier earlier opening. Now, what's kind of worth noting, guys, is we see the first supply depot coming over here at a Happy. Love this choice. You're left with 2 options in TVT. One, well, actually, I should say 3 as far as supply depot placement. And it seems almost like it's stupid to talk about supply depots, but I feel this is one of the nuances of the matchup that goes really unappreciated, so we're going to talk about it, guys. One is you can wall off over here like MarineLord is doing. If you're really scared of Hellions or some sort of run-by, you can throw in a second supply depot and you're good at the top of your ramp. But this only really keeps you alive in the early game. And there's actually a huge, I guess, detriment if your opponent comes at you with siege things, because they'll snipe off the supply depots for free. The other option is you do what Happy did. You try and get vision of your base, scout incoming drops, catch your opponents before they can catch you off guard. And third, but the least utilized, or the most often utilized, but not utilized here in this game, is you just put your first supply depot here for economics sake. You get your SCV back to mining faster, but this is what I kind of love with StarCraft 2. Even though I'm not a Protoss player, even though I'm not a Zerg player, like you start catching these little subtle things in the game that are so important, and as we see, fully walls us off. So not just protecting against Hellions, but protecting against scouting information. Now Happy has no idea what gases are being thrown down, whether it's a 17 gas for Banshees, whether it was a 12 gas for Reapers, or anything like that. I mean, he'll see the Marines coming out, so he'll be able to level out, like, okay, it's not going to be a Reaper, but MarineLord not quite going to get that SCV. 3 health does escape. Not so lucky here. The other half of the map, though, as MarineLord does lose his SCV. Sorry, big cough there. Well, we do have Happy falling up with a Reaper, which is an odd thing to see. You will see 1 Marine, sometimes 2 Marines in an SCV push to get a little bit of an early edge, but a Reaper following this up is strange. And as I said before, you don't expect Reapers on this map because of how terrible they are to get up this cliff. This is the only place they can get up outside of that ramp, because the doodads prevent blocking, or prevent cliff jumping. I don't like this though. This push is weird. It's a funny tango. He's got to focus on the Marine though, not the SCV. Does stutter step away from it though, so soaks his hits like necessary. Pulls his own SCV off the command center trying to win this fight, but he's not going to win this fight. And he's got 2 more Marines coming out, sure, but this actually kills the SCV as well that was building that command center. Reaper gets up here, but there's nothing he can really see. Of course, for Happy, the biggest thing he wants to scout is the gas. If there was no gas was taken right now either, that's a big deal. But unfortunately, not going to be able to kill the SCV. You can actually out-repair a Reaper's DPS, which is funny to consider, but a very real part of StarCraft 2. 2 more Marines are going to come out, but these first 2 should be able to drive this back, and he really needs to get an SCV on that command center and start building again. Reaper jumping up to the high ground will actually get trapped this time. Not by the SCVs, but by the extra 2 Marines coming up from the top as well as the low ground. Not quite going to be able to kill the Reapers. It's quick enough to get away. Yeah, it looks like it will get away. So Happy, again, kind of returning the favor, saying, alright, MarineLord, you were a nuisance to me last game. Let me be a nuisance to you this game. Thank you very much. It's going to be a slow opening from here, but we do have what looks to be Banshees for Happy while this is going on. He did take a second gas. MarineLord did not, however, so probably going to open with a defensive Viking. Might transition later into that tech lab. It does cost way too much gas to go for a Reaper, sorry, not a Reaper, a Raven first. Barracks gonna float out here, so Happy gonna be playing mech this game, I guess. You typically don't float your barracks out unless you're gonna play mech anyway, so starts to move over towards MarineLord's base for that scout. Big shout out to SC2 Knight, by the way. I actually land first blood for once. He's the only one who does the first blood in chat. You guys break my heart. Well, I guess he was expecting some pretty heavy aggression, but that's not going to be the case. We'll find some Hellions in the middle of the map, though. MarineLord turns around immediately. This is one of those nope moments. We should gather, save and sound. In the meantime, Happy doesn't have a lot of production is kind of a problem. When you do play mech, whether it's going to be for a Banshee opening or whether it's going to be towards faster Hellions, the reality is you kind of wreck units for the first portion of the game. And like I was talking about last time, a good way to crush a mech player is you really want to hit them before they've got this critical mass of siege tanks, before they've got this critical mass of Hellbats and Hellions. Viking appropriately baited, busy fighting in the barracks while Banshee gets into the main mineral line. Some of the Hellions being drawn back to this, but why? Why would you pull Hellions? Now he's got to, unfortunately, all these Hellions to deal with here in the natural base. He can't. He just doesn't have the DPS for it. Happy's got too many Hellions to deal with right now. Now he is taking some free hits, which is going to allow MarineLord to eventually clean this up. But he got about 12 SCV kills for this. It's not too shabby. He's not done yet. A couple more Hellions do actually awkwardly run into that. Looks like Happy will be cleaned up here, but cost effective? Question mark. Technically, I guess, because he got a couple kills in the main as well with that Banshee what was going on. Second Banshee gonna get cleaned up here too, though. A little bit greedy in that regard. This is gonna be a bit annoying too. If the barracks actually burns down, he's not gonna be able to build any more factories. So he's got what he needs up right now for 3, but he's not gonna be able to put any more down once this dies. Oh my god, is he gonna land it and steal the tech lab? What is he? I can't build anything out of this. It's gonna burn down first. That's just kind of cool, I guess. I think this provides vision too, if I'm not mistaken.
Your forces are under attack.
Happy is gonna have MarineLord auto attack kill his own tech lab. And now it's burning and he can't repair it unless he puts something onto it? What is what is happening? This is actually really cool. Tech lab almost burns down, but looks like he'll save it at the Ooh, that was really close. 4 HP, guys. That was really close. Okay, so keeps the tech lab. Kind of a funny move out of Happy. I've never seen him do anything like that before, but that's pretty neat, I guess. Taking advantage of that. You know, Total Biscuit had brought it up before in the past. And I wish a map maker would do this. Like, randomly have like a tech lab, a neutral tech lab that someone could steal. Not anywhere that could be useful for like a proxy marauder or make it OP or anything, but like on the top of a cliff or something. Just like how cool would that be? Like, let's say you've got this completely rocked off and walled off, and there's no way to get here unless you drop. But you float a command center early on, and all of a sudden you've got this really safe tech lab that you can just research stim from or something. How cool would that be? That'd probably be overpowered and broken, and there'd be a lot of complaints, sure, but I just think it'd be pretty neat. Barracks will collide here on the top of the map, or not, as they both disengage, but they've both revealed at this point it's going to be mech versus mech anyway, so not a big deal in that regard. Blue Flame on the way for Happy, and of course a couple Hellions just camp in the watchtower. The nice thing for Happy is he's got control of this game in a big way. He's got his third command center already down, that's fine, whatever, that's not the important thing. The important thing is that MarineLord's not able to push out of his base, that he's not able to go take that watchtower, that he's not able to control this game the same way Happy can. And it's not even a big supply lead that makes the difference of this. It's I mean, it's 48 army supply versus 35. Not a big deal. But MarineLord is, well, stuck for the moment. He's going to move with Siege Tank out. I hope that doesn't block the landing of the command center. That'd be so annoying if it is. So I think we've all had that happen to us once or twice before, but Blue Flame versus no Blue Flame. Does have the Siege Tank on his side, though. Yeah, this will get away. In the meantime, these Vikings will chase off the Banshee they're out of. MarineLord, they try and come over here. A for effort, my friend. As far as tech goes, it's Cloak versus Cloak and Blue Flame versus nothing. Not a whole lot going in that regard. We don't have weapon upgrades finished just yet, but level 1 almost done for Happy. And again, every step of the way, he's slightly ahead of MarineLord. He's got armor up, or sorry, weapons up sooner. He's had more tech up sooner. He had more factories down sooner. I mean, even subtle things like stealing that reactor is kind of cool. But at any rate, red versus blue is about how the map's getting split right now. We've got these two sort of flagship barracks towards the north. Now, as far as the mid game goes for this, guys, you'll see a lot of mech versus mech trade out. But it gets really scary if air dominance gets lost. You see both players kind of building up their air armies at the moment. Well, actually, it's more Happy than it is MarineLord. This goes twofold. Well, sorry, let me rephrase that. That's a terrible way to say it. This gets really big of a deal for two different reasons. One, if you got the Vikings and you got the air control, your siege tanks are going to have better coverage than your opponent. Now, granted, if you got infinite orbitals, you can scan forever, and that point becomes nullified. But beyond this, all it takes is like 1 or 2 Banshees cloaked with no anti-air from your opponent. They'll absolutely kill every siege tank you have available. They'll kill the Hellbats. They'll provide a lot of damage from above. And while Thors do eventually get invested in, you don't want to have to be burning scans every 2 seconds for a Banshee. So I kind of feel like the later this goes, the better Happy's going to be, because he's got that air control, he's got that air dominance. I mean, Banshees are light units, so the Thors do bonus damage to them, which is cool, I guess, but the Vikings are not, they're armored, so Thors aren't that effective at killing them off. Now look at the actual unit counting station kind of meander around. It is 10 Vikings to 3, 8 tanks to 8, and 16 Hellbats to 8. So again, pretty much in every way, Happy seems to be just a little bit further ahead than his opponents. Yeah, MarineLord sees the 4th trying to be taken right now. Focusing on these SCVs building. God, the woes of a Terran player. Ooh, this drop of Hellions though, gonna get picked off by the Vikings. Cargo completely denied, and that is just so many Vikings to have to deal with. And again, guys, I want to remind you, even if the air battle is like irrelevant, you can land these Vikings. And versus Hellions, Vikings are incredibly effective while landed. But we did have a couple Hellbats and Hellions drop towards the main by the looks of it. They didn't kill too many SCVs as far as I can tell. They did evacuate a good chunk to the natural, some retreating those back, but still, 17 workers and 21 killed so far this game. Not really a worker-oriented base game, but still that's where all the damage and focus seems to be. As both these players start approaching max, though, we're going to start seeing them move out, start to take a little bit of map control. And again, it's really worth noting that, oh god, armies are going to collide, and Happy's going to have that air advantage in a big way. We'll see if he can utilize this, though. I mean, the Vikings can't do much right now, other than soak hits for the Banshee, but MarineLord will be stopped dead in his tracks. He can't continue to advance knowing that there's tanks and Banshees waiting for him. I would actually really like if one of these guys threw down a second starport or started moving towards battlecruisers even. I hate battlecruisers most of the time, but we'll save that point for another day. Vikings going to land on top of the tanks. Hellbat's going to be so busy dealing with the Vikings that the Hellbats of Happy will move forward. And half of these siege tanks aren't sieged, but that's okay. He's using them for damage of brute force. Now, unfortunately, having yielded the air control like that did cost him a little bit. And Happy's got, well, he's certainly got enough to continue pushing if he wants to, but it's a big risk, because then that's one of those situations where he loses everything. In the meantime, we had a Raven drop some auto turrets in the main. Auto turrets are actually incredibly annoying. They don't do a lot of burst damage, but they last so long that if you don't deal with them, they will pick off all these supply depots, they'll pick up a factory. They're such an annoying burden to deal with. And as we see, a couple Hellbats almost died to them as well. In fact, that one's got 2 HP. Meanwhile, repositioning and awkward, both players with, well, again, equally low siege tanks in the middle portion of the map here. But Thor does finally go down. No anti-air left. One Banshee was trying to pick off, but it looks like he got killed by that Thor. Yeah, one kill on it. Level 3 weapon upgrades for both, but it's worth noting Happy's got armor on his side. And early on, those armor upgrades aren't that big of a deal. But as we get towards the late game, where level 1 armor upgrade is kind of irrelevant, level 3 becomes a much bigger deal, especially for Hellbat versus Hellbat fights, or even soaking the tank hits. But an awkward place to siege for the time being will unfortunately mean that Happy can't continue to advance forward, but will give him the upper hand if MarineLord wants to try and break this, which I don't think he's going to try to. Siege tanks are in range of that command center, though. It's going to have to be lifted from MarineLord lest he lose it. MarineLord, lift that command center, dude. What are you doing? Now the Vikings can probably pick it off if you want to really dive in for this. There's no anti-air. Yeah, I don't know why you waited so long. If you had lifted it off sooner, you maybe could have saved it. I don't know. It's worth noting MarineLord has transferred his Thors, guys. Then a big part of why you do this is they lose their splash damage, but they gain more single target damage. So they can actually deal with Vikings a little more effectively. However, as the army fight starts up, we do find Happy sieged up, but MarineLord should be able to break this. Now the thing is, for Happy, this was kind of the scraps of his army. I don't think he really cared about those tanks. I mean, they were already low. They weren't getting a lot done. Now he's got a lot of Thors and Hellbats pushing, and once again, this looks pretty scary for MarineLord as he's not been able to establish his base. Oops, sorry. I put the camera back down. Wrong person. It's going to be difficult to break, to say the least. It's not going to be easy for Happy to just simply move across the map, but MarineLord's got a pretty nice tank spread himself. The only part that's vulnerable really is his natural, but there's not like Happy's going for drops. He is going to try and walk this army around, curiously enough. Only 2 tanks here to defend. Happy's been faking a lot of aggression here towards the south in order to make an opening here towards the north, and he's done just that. Tanks are going to go down, and now the production line is going to be gotten on top of. A couple Hellbats even sneak into the mineral line, put in hold position to kill some SCVs while this goes on. Siege tanks are going to try and siege up, but the Thor damage might be a little bit too good as he continues to advance forward and push in. Now it looks like MarineLord has responded with his army, but that leaves an opening for Happy to just continue sieging this base towards the south. A couple Vikings being landed. Ooh, that's a bit awkward. Could have walked those into the siege tanks, I think, and handled that a little bit better, but still cleans it out. So, natural base still under attack. 4th base under attack. MarineLord looking pretty rough here in this TVT. Congrats is going to be called. Before we leave, how many workers are killed? Not too bad. Okay, guys. I am going to stick it through to cast the finals. I know, again, we're kind of bleeding viewers out. That's fine. I don't really care whether we get 10 viewers or 1,000 viewers type thing. I am going to run to the bathroom, though, and try and get some water. I am so thirsty, and I got to get some